If there was ever an award for the most stingy man on earth, then it would be given to Mala, the fisherman. Mala was strong, hardworking, and edible-looking as the women in the village liked to whisper whenever he passed by, with his chest bare and muscles shining under the sun. He wasn't rich, but he was doing well for himself. His canoe was steady, his nets never tore easily, and his compound was tidy enough. But all of that, his good looks, his hardworking nature, his small achievement, was buried under the one thing everybody knew him for, his stinginess. Nobody in the entire village ever dared to touch or take what belonged to Mala, because he would shout as if you were trying to take his life. His stinginess was the type that frightened both children and adults. Even goats and chicken learned quickly not to wander near his yard. Growing up, his parents had noticed that he never wanted to share with his friends, but they had thought he was just a child and would grow past it. But as Mala grew, so did his stinginess. By the time he became a man, his stinginess was so mature that it could win a chieftaincy title. Mala was the kind of person that if you offered him something from your heart, he would think you wanted to take something from him or a trap. He never accepted gifts because he didn't want to be in a position where he would give back. His parents had tried so many times to make him understand that stinginess wouldn't take him anywhere, but Mala never listened. Still, he had friends, or rather, people who tolerated him. They usually gathered at the palm wine spot in the evenings, laughing and telling stories about the old days. To a stranger passing by, Mala looked like one of them, laughing, slapping his knees, and nodding at jokes. But when it came time to eat, his real nature would reveal itself. While others bought food and placed it on the same wooden table to share, Mala would sit in one corner with his own meal of steaming food and his own calabash of palm wine. He would bend over his meal like a thief who hasn't eaten in 10 years. His face darkened with suspicion, his eyes darting left and right as if someone was planning to steal a morsel from him. It was so bad that if a crawling baby wandered towards him, Mala would yell so loud that the baby would freeze in shock and burst into tears. Parents quickly learned to drag their children away whenever Mala was eating. The villagers knew the rule: if you wanted to remain in Mala's good books, never ask him for anything. Not salt, not water, not even a direction. The moment you ask Mala for a favor, Mala would cut you off. He would stop answering your greetings and pretend you didn't exist. His friends grew tired of him. Some of them quietly distanced themselves, shaking their heads at his hopeless case. But they never completely pushed him out, perhaps because every village needs one person to gossip about, and Mala provided endless entertainment. Once every year, the fishermen in the village organized a great fishing trip. They would sail to a certain secret river, spend 7 days and 7 nights fishing, and return home with an abundance of fish, which they always shared equally among themselves. Every year, they invited Mala, but he always refused. His reason: how can I suffer, cast my net, catch fish, then come back and share it with people over my dead body? This year, they invited him as usual even though they knew he wouldn't accept. But as expected, Mala refused. On the morning of the trip, while the fishermen were preparing their nets, Mala stood still from a distance, staring and wondering about the river they were going to fish. He had seen them countless times, coming back home with lots of fish, and he always wondered what river they usually went to. That day, he decided to go and see for himself. The fishermen were preparing their nets when suddenly, Mala appeared, carrying his hooks and a giant woven basket bigger than any they had ever seen. The men froze in shock. Mala volunteering to go? It was unusual. The fishermen exchanged suspicious glances. Some murmured in disagreement, whispering that nothing good could come from anything he was involved in. But few of them decided to give him a chance. When they arrived at the river, they cast their nets joyfully and began fishing. As usual, all the fishermen put their catch in one giant communal basket. But Mala, he carried his own big basket and carefully poured every single fish he caught inside. At first, the others said nothing. They assume maybe Mala just wanted to measure his effort before adding it to the group's pile. But day after day, Mala repeated the same thing. Every evening when they asked him to pour his fish into the communal basket, he would shake his head.
No need,
he said with his usual suspicious look.
Fish is fish. Whether it's in your basket or mine, what difference does it make? Let it remain in my basket.
The fisherman grumbled, but they let him be. On the fifth night, while they sat around a small fire roasting fish, Kero, one of the fishermen, whispered to his friend Selo.
This Mala cannot be trusted. Mark my words, he's planning something fishy.
Selo chuckled.
You worry too much. What can he do? He can't carry all the fishes in the basket by himself.
But Kero's eyes didn't leave Mala, who was sitting apart, chewing his roasted fish greedily like a watchdog guarding a bone. On the seventh day, their baskets were overflowing. Everyone was excited about the big sharing that always happened at the village square. The fisherman was set to go home, still, Mala refused to add his fishes to theirs, saying they should get home fast. The others frowned but said nothing. The journey was filled with laughter and singing. Everyone was in high spirits, except Mala. His eyes were sharp, his grip on his basket tighter than ever. And then, just as they were approaching the village, Mala suddenly took another path, his basket of fish tightly pressed against his chest as if it contained gold. The fisherman stopped. Their laugh died. One by one, they looked at each other.
Hey, Mala! Follow us to the village square, let's go and share the fish!
One of them shouted. Mala stopped, frowned, and his face immediately changed into a dark, selfish look that everyone feared.
Why should I?
He barked.
Didn't you see me? I caught the biggest fish while you all were lazing up and down. And now you want me to share what I suffered for? Never! Go and share yours. My fish is mine alone.
The fishermen were shocked. Some of them became angry. They even wanted to seize the basket from him and beat him up if he resisted. But their leader raised his hand.
Leave him alone. Let him carry his own. We'll share ours.
The men grumbled, shaking their heads and wondering what kind of greedy man Mala was. The news of selfishness spread like wildfire. The villagers blamed the fisherman for letting him go in the first place, saying it was bound to end badly. Many villagers began to avoid him completely. But Mala didn't care. As long as no one was putting food on his table, he felt he was winning. Years passed, and Mala grew older. His parents, not getting any younger, desperately wanted to see their son married with children. They begged him time after time to marry a wife. But Mala refused.
Why should I? For what exactly? A woman will only come here and finish my food. I don't need a wife. I am fine by myself,
he said coldly. His parents grew worried and frustrated watching how their only son was wasting his life. They needed grandchildren to play around them. Finally, they came up with a plan. One day, they quietly arranged a woman named Olaru and brought her to his hut.
She'll be your wife,
his father said.
Don't worry about food. We'll be bringing food for her every weekend. Just make sure she gives you children.
Mala's face darkened. Every week, his parents faithfully brought tubers of yam, cassava, palm oil, vegetables, and even meat. Olaru cooked and tried to make him happy, but every time Mala saw her eating, his heart burned with anger.
She's doing nothing but eating my food my parents bring. If not her, I would be enjoying this food alone,
he muttered to himself one day. One afternoon, while Mala was away fishing, Olaru decided to prepare a delicious meal. She used one of the roasted fish Mala had kept aside, thinking it would make her husband happy when he returned. When Mala entered the house, the sweet aroma of the food filled the air. For a moment, his stomach growled. But when he saw that Olaru had used his roasted fish, he exploded like thunder.
What nonsense is this? So this is why you came to my house? To finish my food? You think I married you to be eating my fish? You useless woman!
Before Olaru could explain, Mala grabbed her bags and threw it outside.
Pack your things and get out of my house. I don't want a wife again. I don't need anybody. Leave before I chase you with a stick.
Olaru wept bitterly as she packed her bags and left. Mala's parents were heartbroken. They tried to talk sense into their son, but Mala never listened. Each time they brought another woman, Mala rejected her, saying he wasn't interested, that they were only after his food. Eventually, his parents grew tired and sad, letting him be. They knew he would never change, but their hearts were heavy each time they saw their friends playing with their grandchildren while they had none. The years passed. Mala grew older, but his stinginess never changed. But as his hair turned grey, his back began to ache, he was no longer the strong fisherman he once was. Loneliness slowly began to eat him up. He had no wife, no children, no friends, nobody to talk to in the evenings. When he went out, he saw his age mates sitting under the moonlight, telling stories to their grandchildren, who laughed and ran around them. He had no grandchildren that would run to him. He started to feel a deep, painful regret, wishing he could live like them. He tried to be friendly with younger women, hoping to find someone who could still bear him children, but nobody wanted to be with an old stingy man. At night, he tossed on his bed, regretting his life choices. As he grew older, his body weakened, not just by old age but from the sadness and realization of his mistakes. He had no one to help him when he was sick, no one to cook for him, no one to bring him water, no one to share his last moments with. When he finally died, there was no wife, no child, no grandchild to cry for him. He was buried quietly in the corner of his small compound. His lineage ended with him. His name left no legacy, no one to continue it. The villagers shook their heads. If only he had shared, if only he had listened to his parents, things would have been different. And so, Mala, the stingy fisherman, became a lesson to all, that stinginess builds nothing, leaves nothing, and destroys everything. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this story. Kindly leave your thoughts in the comment section and also do well to share with your family, friends, in fact all your loved ones. Something good is always coming, so please stay tuned for more interesting and amazing stories from this channel.
Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to Hopela Stories.